Next on Worcester News tonight, a new smartphone app feature could allow rideshare passengers to call 911 without their driver knowing, why some say it's important. Plus, state funding to help test rape kits, how it could help a survivor get justice. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. A clear day today, but a storm could be heading our way. A nor'easter is expected to move in Wednesday morning, making for a messy commute. Here's meteorologist Tim Kelly with a first look at our local forecast.
So much weather going on. We have a coastal storm, we have a front, another front, and a system coming out of California, all kind of going to impact our weather. This storm on the coast of North Carolina brought snow to South Carolina, yet we were 50 degrees with sunshine, a little too warm for snow, but it's getting colder, slowly. Temperatures this evening are only slowly falling out of the 40s, really not cold enough for snow until it starts to rain around midnight or so, and it's a rain-snow mix in here. Temperatures about 34, 35. Blue is snow, green is rain. You can see snowflakes are outnumbered by raindrops, about 35 degrees. So even though it can snow hard, the wind is going to mostly be over Cape Cod. Even though it can snow hard, it's just too warm for a snowstorm. And look at this, very interesting, at 7 o'clock in the morning. This is just guidance. It's not, you can't ink it in, but you can pencil it in that the rain and snow ending around 7 a.m., maybe snowing at the coast and raining here. Has to do with the dynamics of the system. So then it's 35 to 40 at 9 o'clock. The sun's starting to come out. If the snow does accumulate in your yard a little bit, it'll be gone by 10 o'clock. And then at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, temperatures are 55 to 60. I don't know if I've ever forecast snow and a high of 55 to 60, and it gets very windy too. There'll be a colder front tomorrow night. We'll talk about that and more action in the 10-day in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Tim. A new feature in a ride-sharing app is aimed to help passengers feel more comfortable with someone they don't know. Uber's 911 integration technology has rolled out in dozens of cities, and some police departments in central Massachusetts are hoping their town could be next. Deborah Roslyn Flaherty joins us now to explain the new feature. Roslyn.
Olivia, the feature allows for information like your name, the exact car you're in, and your GPS location to be sent directly to 911 dispatchers. And people say this technology would make them feel safer. For those who use the ride-sharing app Uber, getting into one can be unsettling.
Never know what's gonna happen.
Especially like late at night when it's dark out.
In more than 60 cities across the country, people can get into an Uber knowing they have an extra layer of security. In the event of an emergency, the app can send your name, what kind of car you're in, the license plate, and GPS location directly to 911 dispatchers, all with the push of a button.
It's nice to know that, if something did happen, you'd have an option.
Although an emergency feature already exists in everyone's Uber app, this technology is only available in certain counties in Massachusetts, not including Worcester. Auburn police say it would be beneficial if it came to the central part of the state so police can get your information quicker.
You don't 100% know who the driver is and or what their intentions are, potentially. And anything that the app itself could do to enhance their rider's safety or the user's safety, we'd be in favor of.
Last month, an Uber driver in Boston was accused of raping a passenger, and a USC student was found dead after getting into a car she thought was her Uber. Auburn police say it's important to be vigilant, and frequent Uber users say they hope the technology comes to the Worcester area soon.
Can't hurt to have it.
Uber says more cities are planned to have this technology in the future. Live in Auburn, Roslyn Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
An updated equal pay law went into effect in Massachusetts less than a year ago, but some say there is still more work to be done. The law passed July 1st, 2018 provides more clarity as to what is considered unlawful wage discrimination. It says your employer can't pay you less than they pay an employee of a different gender who does comparable work. The YWCA of Central Massachusetts says a majority of women want equal pay and are working to close the gender pay gap.
We know that far too often women have less access to higher paying jobs and are more disproportionately represented in lower paying fields. And Massachusetts certainly has taken many steps forward.
And the YWCA says women of color are also paid less compared to their white female counterparts. They say this issue is part of the pay gap. Millions of dollars in state funding could help survivors of sexual assault. The $8 million will allow for testing of all rape kits in police custody, which some hope will allow victims to come forward. Our Chandler Walsh joins us now to explain. Chandler.
Olivia, sexual assault counselors say many police departments have a backlog of rape kits waiting to be tested. They say it's been a problem for decades, but this money means the state is one step closer to a solution. Pathways for Change says the state's budget for 2020 is something to celebrate.
Over the moon thrilled.
It includes $8 million to test all rape kits in police custody.
We can put any system in place that we want, but if we're not funding that, nothing is going to come of it.
The Rape Crisis Center's Heidi Sue LaBeouf says the money backs up legislation passed last year. It addresses the backlog of rape kits across the state and calls for a system to track them and when they're processed.
Waiting years for evidence to be processed is hard enough, and that's delaying a court process. But not having it done at all means you've got very little to go to court with.
Dudley Police Chief Stephen Weiner says his department doesn't have a backlog, but it can happen, especially with anonymous kits and no way to track them. He says the budget will allow these to be processed.
I want to make sure that all these cases get done with DNA and that they're tracked and they're categorized, so they're not just left on a shelf someplace or put somewhere waiting for something to get done.
Weiner says the best thing for survivors to do is take a test and file a police report as soon as possible, even if they aren't sure they want to go to court.
The whole idea is to preserve the evidence, preserve the information while it's fresh in everybody's mind, and gather the physical evidence that you can gather right away, and then save it, and then let the victim make the decision if they want to go forward later on.
LaBeouf says sexual assaults aren't commonly processed or reported. She hopes the investment will mean more survivors coming forward, better evidence to take to trial, and more prosecutions.
This is as much about the survivors as well as helping to keep our society and our communities much safer.
Chief Weiner says it is easier for police to track kits when victims come forward with their name, but they do have the right to remain anonymous. Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
A legislative panel is considering a statewide ban on single-use plastic shopping bags in Massachusetts. Under the proposed legislation, retail establishments would be barred from providing customers with the single-use bags after August 1st. Stores would be allowed to charge customers 10 cents for recycled paper bags or 10 cents or more for reusable grocery bags. A number of communities in the state, including Shrewsbury and Westboro, already ban plastic shopping bags. Leicester's Cherry Valley and Rochdale Water District Board is set to meet tonight in regards to high water rates for residents. The district charges some of the highest water rates in the state, almost $95 more than the state median. Many of the district's ratepayers are expected to be at the meeting. Many were at the Board of Selectmen's meeting last month. Tonight's meeting is at 7 o'clock at the Town Hall. A new space in Southbridge is giving people the opportunity to start their own business while using tools provided in the area. The Tech Incubator just started renting out space and says the goal is to help people grow. Our Brittany Schaefer joins us now with more on the space. Brittany.
Olivia, the 9,000 square foot space is best suited for medical technology companies. The owner says his hope is startups can work together to make a difference in people's lives.
This is just one of our labs. This is a leasable space.
Southbridge Tech Incubator is ready to house startup tech companies. Founder Randall Chinnick says the work performed in these rooms changed lives.
That's why I'm in this field. We've done a lot of products over the years that certainly have helped diagnose cancer, have performed eye surgery to restore sight.
The former River Street School was transformed into a workplace for Chinnick's company, Optimum Technologies. After downsizing, he says the 9,000 square foot facility is ideal for medical technology.
There are labs and offices that they can lease for their exclusive use, and yet there's all these common spaces in the building that they have access to, including the clean room for optical and medical grade assembly. There's a machine shop / maker space. So it's really everything that a startup company needs to prosper and grow.
Pharmaceutical company Extru Farm started renting one of the labs 2 weeks ago. Owner David White says he is working on a long-term drug-eluting implant, and Southbridge is the perfect location.
Southbridge has worked out well just because it's at the intersection basically of 84 and 90. So it's easy to get to. It's a great location and space. The amenities have been superb compared to a lot of other locations I've been looking at.
Within 1 hour of here is Providence, Hartford, Springfield, Mass., Boston, and Worcester.
The Pleasant Street facility is the only technology incubator in South Central Massachusetts. Chinook says the hope is to rent more spaces so there's the opportunity for companies to work together.
We can really have the collaboration and the dynamism of having multiple tenants in here, overlapping in the common areas, helping each other solve problems.
And Chinook says he is currently looking for 6 to 12 tenants to fill the space. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
A recreational and medical marijuana dispensary in Leicester is approved to open a second location. Cultivate plans to expand their facility by 50,000 square feet at the second location. The company has been working with an engineer and architect to design a site on Burncoat Street. They want to sign a community host agreement with the town. The site will be primarily for cultivation, but also include additional offices, processing, and distribution space. Wormtown's popular IPA, Bee Hoppy, has a new companion called Don't Worry. The hazy tropical East Coast style IPA is the largest single canning run the brewery has ever done. About 3,000 cases of 16-ounce cans are being distributed across Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Rhode Island. Wormtown began pouring the beer in their tap room today.